What if the most important question of your life came from someone on their deathbed? That's exactly what happened to me. On the final day I spent with my father, he asked me a question so simple, yet so powerful, that it changed everything about how I live. It wasn't just his words, it was the lesson behind them, a lesson that I carry with me to this day. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you'll be asking yourself the same question, and it might just change your life too. It was a quiet afternoon, many years ago. My father had been sick for a while, and I knew his time was running out. I visited him that day, thinking it would be like the visits before. A few words exchanged, a few memories shared. I had no idea it would be the last time I'd hear his voice. My father wasn't a man of many words. He taught through action, through the way he lived. But that day, lying in his bed, frail but still sharp, he looked at me with a clarity I hadn't seen in years. And then, he asked me a question I'll never forget. My father was a man of quiet strength, the kind who didn't need to raise his voice to make an impact. Growing up, I watched him face challenges with a calm determination that left a lasting impression on me. I remember a time when our family went through financial hardship. We were on the verge of losing everything. While the rest of us panicked, he simply said, "Worry doesn't fix anything. Action does." He wasn't just my father, he was my anchor. But on this day, the roles felt reversed. I was the one trying to hold it together while he lay there, his body failing, but his spirit steady. I thought he might talk about his life, or give me advice about what to do after he was gone. But instead, he asked me something completely unexpected. He turned to me and said, "John, what makes a good life?" At first, I didn't know how to respond. It seemed like such a simple question, but it was one I'd never truly considered. I gave him the kind of answer I thought he wanted to hear. Success, family, doing the right thing. But he just smiled, shook his head gently, and said, "No, it's not about any of that. Let me tell you what I've learned." I leaned in, hanging on to every word, as he shared something that completely shifted my perspective. He said, "A good life isn't about what you achieve or how much you have. It's about the love you give, the kindness you show, and the peace you carry within yourself." I sat there, stunned. Here was a man who had lived a simple life. No grand wealth, no worldly recognition, telling me that the simplest things were the most important. He continued, "John, people spend their lives chasing things that don't matter. They sacrifice their health, their relationships, their happiness for goals that in the end leave them empty. Don't make that mistake." And then he said something that felt like a command, a plea, and a gift all at once. "Don't wait for the end to realize what matters. Live it now." For a while, we sat in silence, his words echoing in my mind. I wanted to say something, to tell him how much those words meant, but the lump in my throat wouldn't let me speak. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, I held his hand and thanked him, not just for that moment, but for everything, for being the man who taught me not just how to live, but how to live well. That evening, he passed away. His last words to me were, "Take care of what truly matters." In the years that followed, those words became my compass. Whenever I faced a decision, whether it was about work, relationships, or how to spend my time, I asked myself, am I taking care of what truly matters? There was a time when I had the opportunity to pursue a higher-paying job in another city, but I turned it down, choosing instead to stay close to my family. My father's wisdom reminded me that no amount of money could replace the moments I would miss with the people I loved. Even the little things changed. I started paying more attention to the small joys. A walk in the park, a heartfelt conversation, the sound of rain on a quiet evening. I realized that a good life isn't built on extraordinary moments, but on how we cherish the ordinary ones. My father's question, what makes a good life, is one I think we should all ask ourselves. The answer isn't in achievements, wealth, or recognition. It's in the love we share, the kindness we show, and the peace we nurture within ourselves. So let me ask you, what makes a good life for you? Are you living in a way that reflects that answer? If not, maybe it's time to start. Don't wait for the end to realize what matters. Live it now. Have you ever had a conversation with someone that changed your perspective on life? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If this story resonated with you, give it a like and share it with someone who might need a reminder about what truly matters. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, John the Stoic, for more reflections, lessons, and timeless wisdom. Let's keep learning and growing together.